All right, traders, welcome to our Sunday stream. Welcome to the weekly outlook. I hope you guys all had a great weekend, and we're just going to jump right into things. So thank you guys for joining me today. Thanks for taking some time out of your Sunday to check out what pairs I'm going to be trading this week and kind of get my thoughts on the week. But that being said, keep in mind that anything you guys hear on today's stream is just my opinions, okay? It should just be taken as informational and educational purposes only. Definitely, please don't use any information as financial or investment advice, all right? So just to kind of set some expectations for today's stream, we're going to be covering all of the flagged pairs over here to the right. Bear with me with my voice today a little bit today, guys, too. I've got some either like a head cold or some going from winter to spring allergies, not really sure, but yeah, today's webinar might not be as long as normal. But let's go ahead and get into everything. If you guys have any questions, throw them down into the live chat. And even if you're watching this recording, if you have any questions, put them in the comments below and I will answer them for you, okay? But definitely make sure you have something to take some notes with because there's gonna be a couple pairs that we go over. I mean, obviously you can see there's 3, 6, 9, 10 pairs that I'm gonna go over. Not every single pair is gonna do, in my opinion at least, do I think is ready for like an immediate entry or an initial setup. We might not even get some of the entries on these pairs this week. So just kind of keep that in mind. I'm just going over a variety of pairs to let you pick and choose from if you like any of these pairs. But I want to hit the economic calendar first before we jump into things. So this week is we're actually getting a little bit of a breather, okay? Because the past couple weeks have been pretty busy. Last week was pretty light too. We had about a 2-day period last week where we had no high impact news. But if you guys have obviously been around for the past couple of weeks or even past couple of months trading, the economic calendar has been pretty crazy, okay? In terms of fundamentals, there's been a lot, okay? We've had like so much of Brexit, which that's not even done. We've had all sorts of interest rates. We've had trade wars between US and China. We've had, slowing economies in Canada and Australia. And there's been so much fundamental data to support all of this. So it's been crazy. Plus, not to mention, we had the government shut down earlier this year as well. So it's just been a very wild year so far in terms of fundamentals. I also want to touch on too that we are now officially in quarter 2. So I hope you guys had a good quarter 1 2019. I hope whatever goals, whether that's in life or trading, obviously we're here trading. So I'm hoping that you crushed your trading goals, whatever you had them for quarter 1. I know I did, finished off March with about 8%. So we had an absolutely killer month. Let's see. Also, yeah, so it's April 7th. So last week was the last day in March. So I don't know if I gave an update, but I'll just very quickly, just to be transparent, I never know who's watching these. If it's your very first time watching these, this just adds a little bit of credibility. I'm sure majority of you guys already know that I have a MyFX book. So just want to kind of look and share my results for March. Okay, so March finished off 8.19%. Already April, right? It's only April 7th, but I'm already up 2.5%. And that's because if you were on last week's weekly outlook, I was short USD CAD. I was in a current short position on USD CAD. I ended up closing that trade, locked in 2.5%. So yeah, quarter 1 has been very, very good, or was very good to us, January, February, March, and now we are kicking off quarter 2 really good. Ricky Bentley, what's up, man? Bunch of numbers. Hey, what's up, guys? Good to see you guys in the chat. Hope you guys all had a good weekend. Hope you guys had a good quarter. But yeah, okay, so let's get into, so the economic calendar for this week, just to touch on some of the things. Beginning of this week, you can see today, tomorrow, Tuesday, nothing, okay? No high impact news. Wednesday, we're going to be coming in with some GDP from the pound. There's going to be some CPI for the US dollar. There's going to be a press conference with the European Central Bank. Okay, so there's quite a couple different currencies to keep your eyes on Wednesday, the pound, the euro, and the US dollar. We also have a meeting minutes, okay? So this is going to be the minutes from the previous FOMC meeting that's we're going to be seeing released on Wednesday. So obviously, that minutes is just going to give us a more exact transcript, essentially, of what was said at that meeting, rather than just like a recap or points that we have from the meeting. And then Thursday, just a couple things just to touch on is for all of my fellow oil traders, keep in mind on Thursday we have some OPEC meetings that are going to be starting, okay? So oil should get a little bit volatile on Thursday, or maybe not even volatile, but oil has already been volatile enough, but we'll probably just see some momentum in oil on Thursday. This could give you maybe for like a nice intraday trade on oil if you do trade oil. Other than that, I am going to be giving my update on oil and kind of where I stand on my position with oil, because I've been killing it with oil. Oil has been like just going perfectly to a T. And matter of fact, let's actually just start off with oil because we're on that subject. Okay, so I'm going to pull up. Okay, so this is the daily chart on oil. Okay, and not to toot my own horn, but just to add some context. Okay, so sometimes we'll look at a random pair, but a lot of times I really encourage all of you guys that are watching these to stay consistent with these, because most of the pairs that I trade, like my list very rarely changes, and a lot of these weekly outlooks is me kind of just following up to my previous analysis from last week, because although I do these Sunday weekly outlooks, and my students will know this too, that my trading style has definitely gone from, focusing more on intradays and less on swing trades to now I'm focusing mostly on swing trading and position trading, and my intraday trades or my scalps are on the back burner. Okay. Now, and also kind of just that being said, just kind of add some numbers to what I'm saying, to my claims. You can see this year I've only taken 17 trades. All right, I have no open positions right now, either no open trades, and I've only taken 17 trades. Yet, look how much profit I'm up this year. Okay, I've made a ton of profit this year. Last month alone was 8%, yet I've only taken 17 trades. So that's why I really encourage you guys to be on these weekly outlooks, because I'm on a consistent basis, because I'm constantly updating my kind of like medium to long-term positions on pairs. Okay, so I want to add this context with oil. So this is just a chart I'm pulling up. This is just a screenshot, but I posted this picture if anybody wants to fact check me. You just scroll up a little bit in the public Telegram and you'll be able to see this picture I posted. So I posted this back on the 28th of March. Okay, so this was over a week ago. I posted on oil, and if you actually go and look at the comment that I posted with oil, I think you can see it pretty clear here with this screenshot, but basically I was saying that I'm expecting oil to move up to this next green box, which is the 61.8% retracement level, which also coincided with the $64 per barrel of oil. And so this is the screenshot from a week and a half ago, and we fast forward to the live feed right now. And I will admit, I really didn't think oil was just going to go straight up in such a short amount of time. I thought maybe it would take another week or so. But we can see oil is already up at $64. It's just sitting there. It's exactly where we wanted it to go. So again, I'm not here to sound arrogant. I'm here to just add context, but also more so just update you guys. Those of you guys that are diligent, writing notes down, keeping my outlooks written down and, following along, just more so to keep you guys an update. And the main thing that I want to talk about oil is because you'll notice that I actually don't have USD CAD flagged for the first time in a long time, because I've been trading USD CAD all the time, right? Even last week, I caught this short on USD CAD at the top. Right, I shorted USD CAD right at the top here because I was expecting oil to continue rallying, and that's exactly what happened. But now that oil has reached my target, I'm just on the sidelines with oil. Okay, I'm really gonna watch price action in this area. I'm gonna see how price reacts around the $64 in oil, $64 a barrel for oil, and I want to see what happens. Okay, but at this point, I've called this whole move, right? I've been calling this move since the beginning of the year when we started this correction, okay? Literally since this bullish engulfing candle back on December 26th and the bounce off of, right? It wasn't just that bullish engulfing candle, but it was more so what those 2 weeks created around this demand level, right? Super strong demand for oil around the $42 a barrel, bounced in that, pretty much we just play it by ear, right? I'm not trying to say that back on December 26th that I called oil going to exactly $64 by April 8th of 2019. I'm not trying to sound like anything crazy like that, but I definitely have like a wait and see approach, okay? Like when I called this correction back in December 26th, okay, our original targets were just in this area, right? We're just around like the $50 back to this previous support of this bear flag. And then we get back on the sidelines, right? We let the markets kind of do what they do. And then we see this inverted head and shoulders. And then we continue that bullish, that bullish outlook. So, just keep in mind, it kind of like this bullish outlook has definitely ran in chunks is kind of the best way to say it. All right. There's definitely been some times even back in here, like February 11th right here. I was a little bit unsure if oil was going to hold its momentum to the upside. We obviously see that held, and the rest is pretty much history. Okay, so that's oil. Want to give you an update with oil. So that being said, with USD CAD, you obviously see I don't have USD CAD marked off because I'm not interested in that. Okay, so I'm actually going to uncheck oil for now. I'm going to uncheck these as we go for now. Let's start up at the top then and work our way down. All right, so here is my outlook. All right, on the dollar index. I am overall bullish on the dollar. All right. I'm overall bullish on the dollar. I would expect the dollar index. Now, it may not be this week, but the dollar index will continue higher. Okay. It's definitely going to continue higher. The US dollar is really being treated as like a safe haven, a quote unquote safe haven right now, along with like the other safe havens, right? Gold and other things. But we're seeing like the dollar being a quote-unquote safe haven currency, which the dollar tends to be a safe haven currency in uncertain, in market uncertainty. So we're seeing weakness in the Canadian dollar. We're seeing weakness in the Australian dollar. So we're seeing the US dollar continue to perform. And just to kind of update from last week, right? Last week, we definitely did start to see a correction on the dollar index. This is the daily chart on the dollar index. You can see that there is a correction, but you can obviously see that at the end of last week, we pushed right back up to the highs. The 4-hour tells the story a little bit better. You can see where price is just consolidating around these highs. So I think it could be this week, but see, the thing for me with the dollar right now is that it's just at the highs. Okay, we obviously can see a common theme many, many, many times in the past, dating back to November of last year, where the dollar index has seen resistance. But what I do like is that we've been really accumulating price. Okay, we really haven't seen much correction to the downside, and there's a lot of supporting price action to the upside. So I think overall the dollar index is going to continue moving up higher, which leaves my bias on Euro USD to be bearish. Okay. Definitely last week, if you guys were on last week's outlook, well, I didn't really mention Euro USD much last week, but I've been on the sidelines with Euro USD for a while because I would have liked to see a bounce around this area, but we didn't. You can even see last week on the 4-hour, we definitely started to bounce incorrect, and then now we're back at these lows. Okay, we're back at these lows, and you can see on the weekly candle, on the weekly chart, I mean, it doesn't take a whole lot of analysis on this pair, specifically Euro USD and the dollar index, to look at these either of these two instruments and see that they're bearish. All right, so I would not be buying Euro USD. Okay, now I don't know if I'll be selling Euro USD right now because it is at the lows. I'm not a big fan. Like if we look at obviously where price is at, it's at the yearly lows. Okay, it's at last year's lows, it's at this year's lows, it's at a very significant level. Okay, and this is what so everybody calls it different things. One level one thing that comes to mind is a PRZ, right? A potential reversal zone. So this is an area where price could potentially reverse. However, there's more momentum to the downside. So I think the risk is definitely to the downside. Let me kind of give you guys my thinking of why I'm not interested in shorting Euro USD right now. Okay, and it goes back to the correlation between Euro USD and USD Swiss franc. Okay, and I know it's not like a solid, 100% negative correlation, that they do the exact opposite of each other, but they have a very high opposite correlation to each other. Okay, so generally speaking, when Euro USD goes down, we see USD Swiss franc go up, and that's usually in the long term. All right, so here's my thinking with USD Swiss franc. All right, here's my thinking with USD Swiss franc. All right, so this is a pretty common pattern. I wish I had my marker, because I'm doing this on YouTube Live. I don't have a marker. I think with YouTube being such a big platform, they really should have like a presenter tools or something like that, okay? But USD Swiss franc, I will just have to go with my cursor in the meantime. So USD Swiss franc, this is a pretty common theme, okay? Not just on USD Swiss franc, but just this pattern, okay? Where price is moving to the downside, and then we see like an ascending channel, and then it continues lower. And I know that's vague. Some of you guys might just say that's too vague, but it's really not vague. It's a simple pattern that pays off. Okay, there's no discrepancy of that. And I think that because this channel basically. Sorry guys, I'm changing between time frames because I can't find a great way to show you the channel visually. Sometimes it's harder for some people to see stuff than other people. So that's what I see. That's the best way to put it, okay, is this ascending channel, and USD Swiss franc, basically anytime it's finding some momentum to the upside, it's just coming back to the downside, and that's creating this channel. Obviously, pretty common price action that we usually see. Now, it's not guaranteed, okay, so don't go shorting USD Swiss franc just because it has a good probability to, or if you do, only use 1 or 2% risk because it doesn't have to happen. But we're going based off of likely scenarios, probability, right? That's what trading is at the end of the day, guys, right? It's probability. It's about finding an edge in the market. And this is an edge that we can use, is knowing that this ascending channel, bear flag, whatever you want to call it. There's so many different ways. If price moves according to price action, then it should continue lower. And I just kind of gave my idea of where I think price could go with USD Swiss franc. A really logical area is where this trend line meets. Now, it's not just because of this trend line, okay? I just have this zoomed out so you guys can get some context for that red line. But more so that if price were to move to right here, okay, to this area, then that would take out any stop losses that are around this area, okay? And what I mean by that is you're going to have buyers, okay? So all along in this channel, okay, people that see buys on on USD Swiss franc, they're going to be buying all along this channel, and expecting USD Swiss franc. Obviously they're all going to have different outlooks, right? Some people might be aiming just to come back up to the highs here. Oops, I don't know why that didn't go. Might be coming to the highs here. Some people might be looking for USD Swiss franc to go higher. Whatever, we know we just know that there's a fact that people have stop losses below this area. And we also know to the seller side of the market that there's also going to be a percentage of people in the market that have sell stops below this area. Okay, and maybe not even sell stops. I mean, there obviously is a percentage of people that have sell stops, but then there's also going to be another percentage of people that are just going to FOMO when price gets down to this area because they're going to have that fear of missing out on a short, and they're just going to take a blind short at this area. All right, so there's a lot of, basically the reason I'm saying all that is because there's a lot of reasoning, a lot of smart reasoning, a lot of logic for market makers to run price lower. Okay, and then that also just happens to line up, right? Like basically like hypothetical manipulation, it's also lining up with some technicals that have a good probability of playing out. So you see how I'm kind of adding in technicals, but I'm also giving a fundamental backing because that makes sense, or at least a a manipulation backing, not just off of the technicals. So for this play with me for USD Swiss franc, I think that this could be a good short also. I think for you intraday traders, this is a pretty big move, 90 pips to the downside. For those of you guys that trade USD Swiss franc, you'll know that 90 pips is a pretty good move. It might not sound like a lot, right? If you're talking about pound yen, 90 pips might not seem like a lot, but USD Swiss franc is like more like 250 pips on pound yen, right? Like the equivalent. So that's a pretty big move that can give you some opportunity. And then obviously the move that I would want to catch is that swing move to the upside. Okay, I'd look for a bounce on this trend line. I'd look for a reversal pattern around this trend line. I'd take a buy, really simple stop loss below the lows of whatever the formation is, whether it's on the daily, which it would most likely be, or the 4 hour, and then go from there. All right, so I know that's a lot of hypotheticals, but I'm telling you guys right now, like something as simple as this, something as simple as making sure you have a whiteboard on these daily webinars, writing down USD Swiss franc, or even something as simple as writing an alert and looking and just doing your diligence, right? Just writing down these. You can look back to this if and when price gets to that area, and you guys can see, but I have a pretty, I'm not trying to like sound arrogant, but I'm just trying to, for those of you, I'm really just trying to make it real for those of you guys. Like trading is real, guys. Real money is made, okay? Those of you guys that sit on these weekly outlooks and just watch and don't take any notes, don't take any action, don't get better week after week, like you guys see me getting better. You guys see me making profits, right? Like I am not one of those bullshit marketers that hypes things up and is always posting screenshots and is always just, oh, look at me, I made $10,000 on this trade. No, if I'm going to show you that I made $10,000 on a trade, I'm going to back it up with either showing you guys my live account or showing you the MyFX book or both. All right, I have the profit, guys. Like the proof is in the pudding. So it's time for some of you guys to like stop messing around, stop playing games, and actually just take it seriously, right? Get on these weekly outlooks, take notes, be consistent with it, write down the setups. Who cares if it's boring, right? Who cares if it's boring? If somebody came to you tomorrow and said, would you endure 3 years of boredom to have a lifetime of financial freedom? Okay, and realistically, trading is going to be boring for more than 3 years. I think most of you guys, if you were given the context in that type of question, would probably like, it's kind of like at that point, who would say no, right? Who's going to say no at that point, right? But there's this perception that people just don't realize that like it's here, guys, okay? So guys, I have been, just to like make something real for you guys, I have been doing these for nearly 3 years now. Okay, Positive Traders has been around since May of 2016. We're creeping on the 3-year anniversary of Positive Traders. And I don't know where you guys are in your life, and I'm not trying to sound arrogant, okay? I'm not trying to, this isn't a pissing contest of who's better than who, guys. It's really more, it's like I see a lot of you guys on here right now. I see dozens of people on here right now, and I don't really care how many people are on here. If even just one person that is listening to this that I'm impacting or that has that light bulb moment of that, aha, like this guy is actually doing it. And it's not just a joke. It's not just a facade. It's not just him hyping things up. He's actually showing me a real track record that I can go through and go and look at and see publicly. So that's why you guys should take the hint, right? That's why I feel you guys are justified. That's why I feel I am justified to do these and have the qualifications to teach you guys, right? But at the end of the day, I am not going to be your hype mentor, right? I'm not going to be your hype guy. I'm not going to be your hype beast, whatever you want to call it. Okay, your guy that's going to be like, yeah, let's catch 10,000 pips this week and turn your $200 into $1,000. Like, no. It's not going to work like that. You're going to keep going in this vicious circle of blowing your account, funding your account, blowing your account, thinking the entire world and the market is against you and that they know exactly. It's because, in a sense, I'm not even really trying to sound like too sarcastic here. I'm actually being real. Like, guys, the market is against you, okay? The banks are against you, okay? Now, are they against you personally? Like, are they going into your account and saying, oh my gosh, David Schinkel has his stop loss right here. We're going to go stop specifically David out. Come on, like, obviously, let's be real, guys. No. Okay, so now let's face it. Now, when we were new, okay, and some of you guys might be in this position, it definitely felt like that, right? I'll be the first person to raise my hand in this room right now to say that I definitely thought at one point that I was like, okay, is this just like all rigged? Like, are the market, it seems like every time I sell, it just immediately goes up, and every time I buy, it just immediately goes down, and it just feels like the broker is against me. But it's not that case, guys. It's like you have to have that you have to have like that humbling, know that, okay, you just don't know anything, right? Because it's a difficult market, right? And that's like the thing at the end of the day that a lot of people always seem to forget, that Forex is one of the most difficult financial markets to make money in, right? I'm not trying to sit here, guys, and try to tell you guys that trading is a walk in the park. It's not. Okay, it's not. I'll be the first person to keep it real with you guys. You guys know that. All right. But yeah, you guys gotta take it seriously. All right, you guys gotta take it real. And for those of you guys that are here, I seriously pat on your back and applaud you and keep grinding. And I mean that are here on a consistent basis, okay? Because I know that there's some of you guys that are listening to this right now that might hop on a weekly outlook, once a month type thing, or might weigh in once a month. And that's just the way it is. All right, it's just the way it is. Okay, I'm definitely a slowly but deadly kind of person in the market. And don't let me like bring you guys down by any means. There are a million ways to make $1 million. Okay, I am not trying to, preach to you guys like a cult and tell you guys my way is the only way and this is the only way to profit. Like, definitely don't think that. Okay, I am not trying to sound like that. Like, there's so many ways to profit, but all I'm trying to say is, like, if you are that person that feels like you have no idea what's going on in the market and you know deep down that you follow too many groups, you have 50 different Telegram groups, you're following 20 different Facebook groups, right? You're hopping on 15 different Zoom calls, you're in 3 different companies paying monthly and paying over $500 a month in all these different companies, and you're just not getting anywhere. Well, step one is because you're probably learning from people that don't have proof that they can teach, okay? And not even just teach, but just trade, okay? Anybody can teach, right? But proof, so let me correct that, is proof that they can trade, okay? If your mentor is not willing to either take live trades with you if they do daily webinars, show their live account, show my FX books, if they aren't willing to do any of those things, those should be huge red flags. Okay, and then at least let me be your guiding, quote unquote, guiding savior out there that's gonna help you. Okay, but you need to be able to, help yourself and discipline yourself from cutting yourself from all these groups. And again, I'm not trying to say I'm the only group. If you're following another group where you got a guy, that runs a Telegram, does something similar to what I'm doing, and he shows his MyFX book, he gets on calls with his students and trades live with them like I do with my students, showing a live 6-figure MyFX book every single day, okay, then those are the people that you should be following, okay? And there's definitely people out there, okay? I'm not trying to say I'm the only one. Definitely, please don't get that, guys. It's just finding people like me, I definitely believe, is like finding a needle in a haystack, guys. Because I see it all out there. And what's really sad is that the people that are scamming people out there, that aren't teaching people how to trade, that don't actually have a track record, they're telling you guys the same things that I'm actually saying to you right now. So you have to be very, very careful. You have to cut through whatever they're saying, whatever they're talking. Like, everything I'm saying right now should be worthless to you guys, okay? Or everything I'm saying, at least as far as like adding credibility to me, should be completely worthless to you guys. You guys shouldn't take a single thing that I say about myself just to train your psyche as truth, right? I hope you guys can trust me, but what I'm trying to say is that you should be looking at the MyFX book, right? Be looking at the numbers, right? MyFX book, the FX Blue, whatever it is, whatever number, whatever your data you're looking at, just make sure that the person you're learning trading from actually knows how to trade and actually is showing profitability, not just flashing screenshots, okay? So I know I went on a little bit of a rant right there. Let's see what we have in the chat before we move forward. Colin said, is the course released yet, boss man? Colin, shoot me a message. Guys, I don't have all the time in the world to give an update on the course. I've been keeping my students updated but the course is done. The course is done. It just hasn't been released publicly to the rest of the public yet. Okay. Abdul says, have you made your 70K back? Abdul, I don't know what 70K you're talking about. Not sure what you're talking about, Abdul. Or if you're talking about the what happened like a year ago that I mean it's old news and I've addressed like 100 times. Yeah, that's been made back like oh my gosh, that's been like so much money has been made back. Okay. Let's continue moving forward though. I want to keep giving you guys value with the trades because we have I've already been on here for a while and I have 6 more pairs that I want to go over, okay? So that's my outlook with USD Swiss franc, okay? So I know I got off on a little bit of a tangent because I know we started talking about manipulation and then just getting into taking trading seriously, but yeah, guys, like that's what I'm looking for with USD Swiss franc, okay? And that's I mean, just to kind of follow up, I think you guys should already be able to add everything together, but we know that USD Swiss franc and Euro USD have a negative correlation to each other. So that's why even though Euro USD is looking bearish on the weekly right now, I think that Euro USD could see a little bit of upside as USD Swiss franc sees a little bit of downside, and then if and when USD Swiss franc flies up, as will the US dollar, if that's the case, then that's when we'll see Euro USD really fly down and really start to break through this multi-year support that we've been bouncing off of a couple times. Okay. So guys, let me keep giving value. Dollar yen, okay guys, I'm gonna be just really like honest with myself, and the reason why I say honest with myself is because one thing I'd say the biggest thing that I personally have to work on as a professional trader and making a full-time living trading that I could get better to help maximize my income over time is to stay away from marrying setups, okay? It's for me personally, I don't know what it is, but I have a habit of marrying setups. So even in what I mean by that is even if price action, and this isn't always, right? Obviously, I'm a profitable trader, but I'm just saying what could help me be more profitable is to just marry less setups. So basically to get less attached to trade setups, okay? A lot of times I will want a setup to work out, and it might begin to work out, and that kind of gets me attached, and then it kind of just doesn't go in my favor, and then I ignore the fact that it's going the opposite way, whether I'm in the trade or not. Okay, guys, like let me say that let me like make that very, very clear that I am not talking about an actual trade that I'm in, okay? I will never, ever, ever in my life like take a trade and then if it goes into some drawdown, move the stop loss out more and then keep moving it more and then keep moving it more and then like let the trade like turn around, right? Or whatever else anybody thinks. Okay, I always cut my stop loss. I'm talking about simply trade ideas, okay? Setups or outlooks, okay? Because guys, here's the fact. Okay, this is the fact. 95% of the time, I am not in the market. Okay, last week, I did not take a single trade all week. Okay, I didn't take a single trade all week, yet I'm still in profit, and that's because I'm very getting quality over quantity with my trades. But anyways, getting back to just the marriage thing. I'm tying that into dollar yen because those of you guys that have been keeping up with the weekly outlooks, I've been wanting to get short on dollar yen for a while. And we have, we've definitely had some opportunities to short dollar yen. But now it looks pretty bullish. It's back up to the highs. Now, this is not it for USD Swiss franc, okay? It's kind of just a pivotal area. It's kind of like Euro USD, how Euro USD right now, it's at some lows and looks like it could keep going lower, but I'm not interested in selling, okay? Dollar index or US dollar yen is the exact opposite, right? It's like the dollar yen is at highs and it looks bullish, but I'm not really interested in buying. If you are a trend line trader or you incorporate trend lines in any way, this is just a trend line on the 4-hour. We broke through last week, and now we're sitting back above this trend line. We're sitting above this trend line, and we're also back to the yearly highs. Okay, or around the yearly highs. Okay, it's like within reason. Okay, what's that? Within like 45 pips, 40, 50 pips of the yearly highs. All right. Now, with everything we've been saying, okay, if you've been putting two and two together, all right, if you've been paying attention, I've been saying that I think the dollar index is going to be overall bullish. I think Euro USD is going to be overall bearish. Then, from a correlative standpoint or a correlation standpoint, we should see dollar yen continue to rise. I'm really going to let this week be the deciding week, though, because for the past like couple months now, I'm talking like since January, okay, since this reversal back in here, I've been expecting like a long-term setup where dollar yen kind of rises to somewhere around this area, like somewhere between like 110.50 and 112, and then falls long-term. All right, and that kind of got invalidated back here in March 22nd, March 25th. You can see where price definitely started to fall, and that's where the momentum should have started to pick up if dollar yen was going to continue going lower. But in this case, we actually see that last week we pushed up higher with dollar yen back up to the highs. And that leads me to believe that dollar yen strength may not be over. And I think a lot of that is going to be due to the US dollar strength. Okay, just the driver is going to be dollar strength, in my opinion. I don't think the driver is going to be a weak yen, because if we can segue into euro yen, I actually think euro yen is a good short position, okay? And for those of you guys that are students, I think that our next swing position is going to be on euro yen, and I think it's going to it's going to come in the form of something like this. Probably going to be taking a short somewhere around today or tomorrow around these highs where we're at. Stop loss, I haven't determined the stop loss yet, but it's probably going to be something like this, somewhere between like 50 and 100 pips, and then risk to reward or take profit. We're gonna go back to like the post flash crash lows to begin with. That's a nice like 250 pips right there. Nice little swing trade, but I think it could go lower. I really think that yen strength is going to pick up. Okay. You can also see euro yen on the weekly outlook. This is also an update for some of you guys too that follow along with like my long-term setups. So you guys may know I've been since really pretty much since like January 28th. You guys remember back in January 28th, or I guess this week of February 4th right here, when we got this bearish engulfing candle on the weekly. That's where I first kind of started to get interested in shorts on euro yen. Obviously, you can see since then it's just consolidated in this area. Haven't really gotten involved with it, but it still is overall bearish. Okay, and on the same tone with yen pairs, Australian dollar yen, I pulled this pair up last week. Also, this is going more towards like a longer term outlook for my swing traders that I have on here. But this is Australian dollar yen, and I mentioned this last week, just the massive, just like tight consolidation that we're in. Really clean consolidation on this massive bear flag on AUD yen. And yeah, I mean, it's just simple as that. Price action leads me to believe that this could be a good sell opportunity for AUD yen, and it can move lower. Obviously, you can see we are much higher than where we were last week, so this would be a pretty good area to pull the trigger on either euro yen and AUD yen. Okay, so and you can see like even on the daily, like price action is pretty reminiscent of these two, right? They aren't the exact same. We've got the Australian dollar in one and the euro in the other, while the yen is in both of them. But you can see, right, like just pretty much since the flash crash, the beginning of this year, just a big bear flag. Euro yen, same thing. Since the flash crash, big bear flag. Okay, so I would expect both of these bear flags to continue in their direction lower, and that should follow through. And that's why I talk about. So you see how dollar yen looks much different than euro yen in Australian dollar yen, right? You see like euro yen, Australian dollar yen, they look pretty similar, right? They have this like bear flag, but Australian dollar yen, not so much. It's actually made a pretty solid correction up higher. And that's obviously where you have the divergence with the US dollar right there, okay, between the other two pairs. So you have the US dollar that's driving this pair higher. And that's, again, why I believe US dollar could go higher why the dollar yen could go higher, even if euro yen and AUD yen move lower, okay? This is another juicy one. So for those of you guys that have made it this far in the webinar, I think I'm feeling really good about this pair. don't take that in the wrong way, guys. Like, I'm a professional trader. I do things very methodically. I don't just look at the market and say, oh, this feels like a good short, I'm going to short it. No, I mean, there definitely is intuition, human intuition that plays, okay? So I'm not going to say that there isn't intuition. However, there's a fine line between like calculated intuition, you know, where you have like logical or I don't know how to say, like intuition with evidence rather than just you guys know what I'm talking about, right? The difference, like when you're new in trading, or even if you might not be new, you're just making bad habits of it just looks like a short, right? Price just looks like it's going to go shorter, but do you have any? Can you actually write down on a piece of paper why it looks short? Okay, so I like NZD USD because if you are just kind of put some context with this trend line. If you are a trend line trader, we are breaking through a major trend line. But more so, we are back to a major level of support. So this is actually where we've seen, aside from where the flash crash dropped, this is where we've seen a pretty significant bounce a few times this year. Okay, so initially before the flash crash, okay, so end of the year, then we had the flash crash, then we regained upside and then bounced early January. Then late January, then middle of February, we bounced around here. And then pretty much if you just look at like the range, NZD USD has just been caught in this huge range since November. All right, and this is a pretty pivotal time for NZD USD because it looks like it's going to be breaking out of this range. And just to kind of like paint the picture for you guys, like what happens when NZD USD likes to break out of a range. Okay, this is where I wish I had my presenter tools because I could circle it, but just kind of see where my cursor is circling right here. You can see where this is just an example, okay, and this isn't to show, I'm not necessarily showing that you have this consolidation, then it was a sell. It's more so just to point out the momentum that you see post-consolidation. Okay, so major consolidation area, and then you can see pretty much since it broke that consolidation April 23rd of 2018. It like trended lower. It really didn't stop trending. It had just a couple series of corrections, but had a very strong trend with very little consolidation all the way until October. All right, and so we could be expecting to see something like that. And the reason why I say that this is juicy and I think there's a lot of value with NZD USD or me going over this is because if you tie everything together that we've gone over with the dollar index and the correlations between the other pairs, well, if the US dollar does ultimately become stronger and break that infamous inverted head and shoulders, right? I have to point this out because this is what I'm pointing out, right? In dollar index, here's that inverted head and shoulders that it tried so desperately to break last year. What's going on here? That it tried so desperately to break around this year. Okay, but we called that, right? Also to just add some more context, right? Not to be arrogant or anything, but just to add some credibility, right? I called this back on. This is just to add some credibility of why you guys should pay attention. Simply that, okay? Look at this, November 22nd, dollar index weakness coming. Called that, okay? This was at the time when there was this major inverted head and shoulders, okay? There's this, watch, let me go back to it. This was at a time, if you guys take one thing from, one tip from me trading, or one just hint in life in general, it is observe the masses and do the opposite. Okay? Now it's not saying to take that literally with every single trade. You can see it in an example here where it worked out literally. Okay, but don't take that to the grave. Okay, there's definitely times I always have to give those little disclaimers when I say things, but I'm tying that into this point because some of you guys may remember, if you guys were around November 12th of last year, everybody on the dollar index was like, oh my gosh, inverted head and shoulders, that's a perfect buy. I'm going to buy the dollar index because basically everybody was shorting Euro USD at that time. Okay, remember this on Euro USD, right? Everybody saw this inverted head and shoulders, or not, this was not inverted, this is a normal head and shoulders. Right, back in November, back in here, everybody was like, oh my gosh, everybody's shorting Euro USD. But what did we do? We didn't, right? We did not short Euro USD. I actually called a short on the dollar index. So we were buying Euro USD, and that's ended up what happened. that's what happened, okay? But now we can see prices moving with momentum back up. So this red trend line, so all of that is said to give some context with this red trend line right here. Okay, and this red trend line, that's why, it's going to become important when we get up to that area. That's where this trend line is going to come into, okay, because it's going to be the neckline of that inverted head and shoulders, or that infamous. I say infamous because a lot of people lost a lot of money around that time. We didn't, thank God, but I see it on social media, guys. Everybody cries because they see Euro USD. Everybody's commenting on posts and talking about how they got screwed, short in Euro USD. It looked like the short of the century, and then it ended up skyrocketing on them, right? So yeah, just keep in mind with those pairs, okay? So NZD USD looks like if the dollar index does get to that neckline and break that neckline, NZD USD should fall lower, okay? And that's just one small adding conviction or correlation. I mean, that's not necessarily small, that's big, but from just a price action, a technical perspective, NZD USD is getting very close to the bottom of this level, and if we break through this level, and then also I meant to point this out too when I was doing the analysis earlier on this pair, is this range, by the way, that we've been in, if you zoom out a little bit so I can show you where the fib levels are, okay, so take this swing from the high of 2018, okay, so this is like big boy time frame, okay, so the high of 2018 all the way to the low of 2018, and you fib out that whole move, and you see, look at where the top of this range is. It's also the 50% retracement level. Okay, so it's an extremely strong retracement level. So basically what I'm saying is chances are if we break through this major support level where we're at right now, we're probably going to see a big drop off on NZD USD, and it's probably going to make a full move all the way back down to the 0%, okay, where we originally started the correction at. Okay, and then basically this move here would turn into a correction, right? A correction to the 50%, and then we move another leg down. All right, then potentially, this is all speculation. Just like anything is, so don't take this, like I say, don't take it to the grave, but we could see USD Swiss franc maybe move lower all the way down and then do something similar, right? Maybe play back up a little bit and then move back lower. Okay, and this is the weekly, right? I know some of you guys probably don't have enough patience for the weekly, but that's just the way I roll. All right, that's the way I roll. So I've taken 17 trades this year, and I wouldn't do it any other way. I have absolutely zero regrets about it, okay? Because there's probably people this year that still have yet to make any profits, right? Sure, they can go flip $1,000. Maybe the first week of January, they flipped $1,000 to $4,000. But are they net profit still this far in the year, right? What happened when they got to that $4,000? Did they just magically just start to use good risk management? Chances are probably not. And then they ended up losing that entire $4,000, and they're going in this circle of blowing accounts, okay? So I don't care, if people have made more money than me in a shorter amount of time or flipped accounts, but it's how much money do you still have type of thing, right? Or how much money have you still retained? That's why trading competitions, I don't like trading competitions. I see online sometimes brokers sponsor trading competitions, and that's cool, right? You can go showcase your skill set, how, basically it's how much money can you make with this small of an account, in X amount of time. But for me personally, it's not my cup of tea. I'm not a big fan of rushing trades and forcing trades just to force profits. I'm definitely a very more relaxed, wait for confirmation, wait for multiple pieces of confirmation. I'm not comparing myself to anybody. I'm not in a race against anybody. I'm in a race against myself to become a better trader and, continue, each year that goes by, compound not just my account, but compound, my lifestyle, and do things with my life. So that's NZD USD. I think NZD USD is going to continue going lower. Okay. And then just a very quick update, only going to spend a minute or two on these, is AUD CAD and AUD NZD for those of you guys that are constantly on these weekly outlooks and know that for the past couple months I've been watching these pairs. I just want to give an update that I am officially neutral and on the sidelines and just pretty much invalidated with both of these pairs. Okay, especially AUD NZD. All right, you guys know I was calling a short back in like February of last, or like, yeah, February of last year is when I called a short. Now, obviously, it did play out, right? The short worked out. It moved down like 130 pips. It continued to move lower, but I missed it, right? I didn't take a position. I did not enter the market or get involved on this, and we can see now it just is just kind of a mess. Okay, so I'm actually going to. I wanted to do this live. I was going to do it before the recording, but I didn't want to confuse some of you guys that are diligent and write notes and pay attention why I just randomly am not talking about a pair anymore. So that's AUD NZD, and then AUD CAD, same thing as well. Okay, it still is very possible AUD CAD can continue lower. I think as the Australian dollar weakens, as we see just fundamental, the Australian dollar like fundamentally weakening across the board over the coming like year or so, I think that'll pull AUD CAD down, but really just isn't what I want. And it kind of goes back to my philosophy that I said in the beginning of like marrying trades, is I'm not trying to get too attached to this trade just because it might have worked out. Like, to give you an example, AUD CAD, right? I actually took a short back on February 20th. I took a short on AUD CAD. It ended up being a break-even trade because it went very quickly into profit, very nicely into profit. You can actually see, I can't really zoom in on this recap, but if you can see where my cursor is, it came all the way down to this blue box. So it dropped from here all the way to here. So from my entry, it dropped like 115 pips, and then it went all the way back up to break even where my stop loss was at. I got stopped out on this trade, and that's that. Okay, and that's kind of where I go back with you have to really train your psychology when it comes to trading, because a trade like this can really mess you up when it comes to future trades with this pair. Because keep in mind, like if you're just using like normal psychology, right? Naturally, when you win a trade, you're gonna have like this false confidence in a sense, right? It's almost kind of, if you guys have ever heard of, it's called a gambler's fallacy in a sense. It's like take a roulette, for example, right? And you think, okay, so you see black has been hit on the roulette table the past 10 times, so it has to hit red next, right? Well, that's not true. And that's what the gambler's philosophy is. It's like that thought of you thinking that when each roll on roulette has independent or any like thing that has odds, right? Even when you take a trade, and that's why I'm tying it back into trading, is that every single trade has its own independent odds. All right, so just because I had this trade, so why I'm saying all of this is because with AUD CAD, I took a short here, right? I had this nice analysis on AUD CAD. I wanted to ride the short. I even wrote this nice thing out. I took a short on AUD CAD, and then immediately, boom, what did it do? It dropped 115 pips straight into profit. Yeah, I get stopped out at break even, but what it does is it messes with my mindset. It's like, okay, well, I had that first trade that worked out so perfectly, so it almost puts in like this false sense of confidence for future trades, that future trades are going to work out. And that's kind of how it ties into like that gambler's fallacy. You can obviously see hindsight is going to be 20/20. I never took another trade on this pair, and I'm glad I didn't, because if I did, I most likely would have gotten stopped out, because you can see like this trade, even with this setup right here, I did not get stopped out because I had my stop loss at break even. But yeah, would I have taken another trade, a short maybe in this area, then I probably would have gotten stopped out. Okay, and that's one thing too, just to kind of give you guys like a little trading hack. That is one thing that has helped me profit more in the markets, like in keep my profits. It's just being patient. Right, like AUD CAD right here, like imagine if I would have taken a trade. Well, this entire account, my gain on my account would be, whatever, 1% or 2% less if I would have taken this trade. So sometimes, guys, consider just sitting on your hands. Like there's no competition, right? Like you don't need to be the coolest person in there. You don't need to be the coolest person in your group that's catching, 100 pips every single day. Like that doesn't need to be you. That can't be you. I'm telling you right now, there's not going to be you. If you've got that person in your group, I'm telling you right now, watch them, see where they're at for 3 months, see how much posting they're doing in 3 months. They're not going to be posting that they're still making that 1,000 pips every single day 3 months from now, okay? Trading is not about what you do in 1 day or 1 week or how great you can flip your account, okay? It's not about that. It's about the long-term consistency. All right, so that's gonna be it, guys, for the week. Really, I think I went in a lot of different directions today, but you guys got a lot of value. Specifically, I think with USD Swiss franc, you guys have my opinion on USD Swiss franc. Dollar yen, I'm watching dollar yen. Oh, you can even see euro yen already. It's dropping. Euro yen looks really good for shorts. AUD yen already dropping. Looks really good for shorts. NZD potential shorts. I'm not gonna jump into NZD yet, especially because it's at lows. It's at a PRZ, a potential reversal zone, just like Euro USD is at an area where, yeah, it could break lower and it has a lot of momentum. It looks like right now to the downside, but at the same time, this is also a notorious area for price bouncing. So I'm gonna wait until after price moves through this zone, through this demand zone. Wait for some sort of bearish continuation pattern. Whether that's a bearish flag, or we start to see price correct a little bit and then I see an evening star or what have you. I'm going to look for confirmation, and then at that point I'll enter NZD USD, and then yeah, that's an update for the rest. And then also with oil, I'm going to go on the sidelines. Even if oil can go higher, even if oil does go higher, I'm not really going to take a ton of credit for. I'm actually not going to take any credit for, because as of right now, Sunday, April 7th, 2019, I'm moving my bias to the sidelines until further notice. But yeah, I'll definitely take credit for calling this correction from $45 down here, or the gradual correction as we increased our levels that it would correct to. All right, guys, but that's it. Seems like a pretty quiet chat this week. Looks like, yeah, there's still a lot of you guys in here, so looks like you guys are getting everything. Looks like you guys don't really have any questions. Do me a huge favor, guys. I know I always say this, but I just want to remind you, if you have not smashed the like button, please definitely do me a favor and smash the like button. Yeah, you know what? It is what it is at the end of the day. It kind of disappoints me that there's not that many people on these webinars, but it's kind of like this. It's like what you give out for free, people only so many people is gonna see the value in that, right? Like I could literally go in Telegram right now and say the next 10 people to message me will get $1,000, and there'll be people that look at it right away, and there'll be people that that could be in the first 10 and still don't message me, just because it's just like a lack of applying yourself, like in all aspects of life, like not just hopping on a Sunday webinar. It's like just getting your shit together in life and doing what you need to do to become a successful person that you supposedly want to be. But there's always that one saying. It's like you can't drive a Ferrari with a Honda mindset, right? Super cliche saying, but so true, right? Everybody wants to drive a Ferrari, but everybody has like a Honda work ethic, right? Gotta have that work ethic, guys. Gotta have that grinding. Gotta have that patience. Gotta have that humility. Gotta be humble. Gotta let the market, especially if you're trading, because the markets will humble you so quick. If you try to flex on the markets, you try to, basically treat the markets with disrespect, try to like get one over in the markets. You guys know what I mean. They'll always get you right back, because just the way it is. Just the way it is. They are out to get you, believe it or not. They are out to get you. Okay, maybe not you directly, but you fall under, just like me too. I fall under the umbrella of retail traders, right? Every other group of participants in the Forex market is against us. How it's hard. It's hard. So that's why you have to limit your exposure. Okay, that's A, why I don't take that many trades. B, use good risk management. Always use the position size calculator. And C, just have patience. Just have respect for the market. But that's going to be it, guys. Let me see. Jameson's keep adding value, David. Yeah, Jameson, I appreciate you guys. Definitely, Jameson, long time student here. I see a lot of students in here. I'm going to end it here, though. I think I gave you guys a lot of value. I think you guys got it. You guys got my point. So, students, I will see you guys tomorrow for our first daily webinar of the week on Monday, and everybody else, I'll see you guys on next Sunday's weekly outlook, or in the Telegram chat, or whenever I see you guys. So hope you guys all have a really great trading week. Hope you guys take something away from this today. If you didn't already, make sure you smash the like button. Make sure you definitely subscribe if you are not already subscribed. And other than that, guys, have a super safe trading week. Have a great day, guys.